8 dumb people versus professional fighters. Well, here we are again with more people challenging professional fighters. Ego, a lack of critical thinking, overarching stupidity. We're not quite sure what brings these people to challenge professionals at their craft, but one thing's for sure, we can't get enough of it. Misha Tate chokes out multiple challengers. If it's not obvious to some of you yet, there's some very badass female fighters. Misha Tate is the former UFC bantamweight champion of the world, one half of one of the MMA's most heated rivalries, the other half being none other than Ronda Rousey, and is pretty damn good at what she does. So when these YouTubers tried to get some content of them rolling with a professional fighter, they did so at the expense of their necks, arms, and legs. These guys probably knew that they were going to lose, but no beginner truly knows how bad they are until they train with a professional. These guys tried, they really did, but Tate's just, really good at her job. Cupcake Tate took these beginners down with ease, making the most of her judo and wrestling savvy. Then the submissions came. Kimuras, guillotines, and rear naked chokes were the finalizing moves for an overall one-sided showing for the former bantamweight champion and future Hall of Famer. How do you think you'd do against Misha Tate? Let us know in the comments down below. Warning, be humble, she may see this. A professional becomes a beginner. All of you boxing heads out there may recognize this next entry. Enter James Toney, retired boxer, a champion of multiple weight classes, and a man that avoided jabs while never avoiding a challenge. So yeah, James Toney isn't somebody like the majority of challengers on lists like these. But hear us out. Being a good boxer doesn't exactly mean one is inherently a good fighter, but rather they're a much better fighter than most people. Being a complete mixed martial artist is what makes someone a great fighter. Had this been a boxing match, then it would have been Toney with a quick win. But it wasn't a boxing match, it was an MMA fight against the legend himself, Randy Couture. James isn't a novice to fighting, but his grappling skills couldn't hold a flame to Randy's, so you could guess what Couture's game plan was. He wasn't out there to make a case for a boxing title run, that's for sure. Couture hit a low single within the opening 20 seconds, and that was all he needed. Randy might as well have landed in the mount position because he was there within 2 seconds. Then he began working for an arm triangle choke. There's no such thing as out-toughing a choke. Toney could either tap out or he could take a nap in front of everyone watching. James decided it wasn't bedtime and he waved off the fight. Did you know that this crossover fight happened? Sound off below with your dream crossover fight between a boxer and an MMA fighter. Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou, anyone? Bodybuilder returns. This guy either can't take a loss or he's a slight masochist. This bodybuilder has been seen in a previous video of ours where he took on a female purple belt. Spoiler, he was put to sleep. Here he is again, but challenging a black belt coach. The coach opted to teach him a lesson. He defended the bodybuilder's takedown, took his back, then the bodybuilder was smacked in the face more than a Slipknot snare drum. As expected, the black belt handled the guy with ease. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Make like this coach did and slap the ever-loving life out of the like and share buttons. Cocky adult thinks he's better than his teenage opponent. Here's a tip for the guys out there. If you like to go home with a torn ACL and no girlfriend, do what this guy did. If that's not the goal, then, be a jerk like this guy. Here we have a Jiu Jitsu tournament. These events are typically divided by age, weight, and skill. But there are some things that are hard to monitor, like who is a new white belt and who is just super late on receiving their blue belt. Also, the age barrier can be broken at times if the bracket needs a little more substance, which is most likely what happened here. In this no-gi match, we have a teenager, seen in black pants, taking on an adult competitor. The younger athlete sat down, which is normal for a BJJ tournament. The other guy probably spent too much time making memes about guard pulling and not enough time training. The adult lays down like Nick Diaz did against Anderson Silva, but he's nowhere near as skilled or cool as Diaz. This guy's giving a bad rep to the rest of us that wear Pokemon rash guards. When the adult finally engaged in jiu-jitsu, he found himself in a leg entanglement real quick. The adolescent competitor put him in a heel lock, which was legal for some reason, and the adult competitor tapped out very quickly to save his ligaments from being ripped to shreds. Hit that like button if you felt the secondhand embarrassment. Coach Dennis takes on a dojo stormer. Listen, if you don't think that Jiu Jitsu works, go try a free trial class. You don't need to go in, challenge a coach, and embarrass yourself. That's unnecessary. But if you do go for the latter, please record it and send it our way. Appreciate it. Here we have a dojo stormer that challenged one of the coaches during an open mat. The coach agreed that if the competitor tapped him, the gym would pay the competitor $1,000. Safe to say the gym kept its money. Really, just watch this guy getting manhandled. Needless to say, he learned that jiu-jitsu is legitimate. Boxer tries to storm a jiu-jitsu gym. James Toney, any advice for this guy? This challenger entered a gym and challenged one of the coaches, which never ends well. This challenger seemed to have some training, though. He landed a beautiful cross right away and sprawled on the retaliatory double-leg takedown from the coach. This was not near enough, though. The coach eventually put him down to the mat and took his time to get into the mount position. Taking his time helped him because he let the challenger burn his arms out while slowly demoralizing the challenger. Luckily, the coach was nice and didn't do any damage, even though he earned a position where he could have. But the challenger wanted to continue, so they did. It was then that the coach rained down elbows on the challenger until time ran out. You think he should have just taken the loss when the coach originally stopped? Aikido guy versus MMA. Aikido? More like Aikido, don't try this in a real fight. This challenger wandered his way into an MMA gym where he said that Aikido trumps Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. A match was then set up with what seemed to be striking and grappling rules, but the strikes were open-handed. The bout begins and the Aikido guy slapped so hard that he lost his ability to taste before COVID came around. This prompted the Aikido guy to call a timeout. The match begins and the challenger is slammed on his back for his troubles. Do you think this guy's just a bad representation of Aikido, or does it actually work against trained fighters? Start that debate down below. Another dojo stormed, another challenger embarrassed. Dojo stormers, keep dojo storming. We love the content. Here we have a clip from Paul Thomas Jiu-Jitsu. This challenger came in and didn't believe that BJJ actually works. Kind of like those guys you hear watching MMA for the first time. He thought he could just stand up. Newsflash, we've tried to stand up. It doesn't work like that. The challenger seemed respectful enough, but still didn't go about this the right way. On his first try, he was taken down, got his back taken, and succumbed to a rear naked choke within 6 seconds. But yeah, jiu-jitsu doesn't work. The two went again, and the trained athlete got mount, then another rear naked choke. One more time the two went at it, this time the challenger's taken down, mounted, and was on the wrong end of an arm bar. Do you think we could have done better than this guy? That does it for the video. Let us know which beating you found most satisfying down below. If you're enjoying the content, let us know by liking and subscribing. Hit that bell icon to make sure you never miss a future video. Until next time.